thin line of warm gold under the door. A chair behind glass, still upturned on the floor. The street holds its breath, the sky holds its blue, and I stand at the threshold of something I knew. The handle is patient, it knows how to wait. The morning has folded the edge of its slate. Somewhere a kettle begins its first hum. A morning is something a morning becomes. The pavement is dark with the cold that has stayed, and I am the first of the day to be made. A figure inside lifts a cloth to a shelf. She moves like a song, she is humming herself. The lamp by the window turns low into bright. The air on this side has the weight of a kite. I watch as the room becomes ready to hold whatever the early late hours unfold. A small lift of sleeves, a slow lift of chairs. The space gets prepared by invisible cares. Her hand on the lamp is a small, certain art. A morning is built by the slow, careful start. There is a small hush before any door turns, a pause where the heart understands what it learns. Not loud, not unspoken, just resting in air, like steam that is yet to decide it is there. The wood of the frame keeps the warmth of last night. A breath against glass makes a small cloud, then white. I count my own pulse with a second hand near. The time before time has a sound I can hear. The street lamp behind me clicks softly to gone, and I become only the day's only one. Makes a sound that the building expects. A small, careful click, then the doorway corrects. I step from the cold of an unmoving street into the slow hum of the room that I keep. My feet find the path, soft, familiar, the same. The chairs in the windows recall my last name. The carpet remembers the angle I take. The booth in the corner stays still for my sake. There is no music yet, only quiet decided to enter at all. I hang my coat softly beside the front door, a piece of the outside. I'm leaving for sure. The lock turns behind me. The city moves on. Inside, it is morning. Outside is still dawn. The booth waits, my notebook still tucked at my side. A whole quiet hour with nowhere to hide. My breath finds the shape of the room as I sit. The morning has opened, I'm ready for it.
You stand in the doorframe, gives way to your hand. The lock has been waiting to lift where you stand. The hinges remember the pull of your weight. Each morning you teach them again how to wait.
The bell on a string makes its small private note. Your scarf smells of outside, of cold and of coat. You step on the small braided rug at the door. Your footprint is exactly the same as before.
The wood underfoot lets out one quiet breath.
And the room becomes wider the moment you enter. The walls take a breath, recognize you as their center. The chairs lean a half-inch, the lamp turns its head. The morning was waiting for something you said. You walk in a quiet you didn't make. You enter a stillness that lets you partake. The door yields the way that a soft thing yields, a careful small blossom in unmade fields. And nothing has happened, but everything starts. You wait on the floorboards, the room's open arms.
Your shoulders unclenched by the light overhead.
The space between footfalls is something unsaid.
You pass by the counter, you nod at the wood.
Your morning is doing exactly what mornings should.
The window is turned
From a wall to a frame, the kettle is starting to know your first name. You set down your bag in the booth's gentle hold, a morning that feels neither new nor old. Your hands take the cold off the back of a chair, and the room becomes softer the longer you sit. The walls take a posture, the lamp lets you fit. The chairs find their angle, the table breathes slow. The morning was hoping you'd settle here, so you walk in a quiet you didn't make. You enter a stillness that lets you partake. The door yields the way that a soft thing yields, a careful small blossom in unmade fields. The hinges, the rug, and the floorboards agree. You're exactly the morning will be. Behind the long counter she Her apron is folded, her sleeves have been rolled. She nods to your shadow before she's been told. The clock makes a sound like a leaf on the floor. The room is the room and the door is the door. The light through the window is soft, dim and pale, and every small detail is whole and is small. Small blossom in unmade fields. The morning has opened a place for your weight. The chair has remembered your usual rate, and nothing has happened, but everything starts. You set down your hands and you set down your heart. The kettle has settled, the steam knows its way. The first cup of morning has taken its shape. A spoon sets a beat on the rim of a mug. The room has a rhythm it didn't quite plan. She tips a small jug, the milk meets the heat. A small quiet music in front of her feet. The grinder has finished its low brief complaint. The smell of the morning is deeper than paint, and the counter is shining where her hands have been. The wood holds a memory of every routine. The jar of brown sugar, the tin of fine salt. A morning is what every morning becomes. She pours in the day, finds its earliest tone. A small wave of warmth in the cup that I own. She slides it across and her smile is so brief. A kindness too soft to call out as relief. The first sip is something the throat has forgotten. A morning begins where a morning has been. I carry the weight of the cup to my seat. A small wisp of cloud rises up to my cheek. The booth has its angle, the booth has its hum. The window beside me is colder than warm. I cup both my palms on the porcelain skin. A small private fire begins to begin. The grain of the wood on the table shows through. A morning is everything quiet can do. And the counter is settling where her hands have moved. The wood is approving the shape of the room. The jar and the tin and the spoon find their rest. A morning is what every morning has guessed. She pours in the day, finds its earliest tone. A small wave of warmth in the cup that I own. She slides it across and her smile is so brief. A kindness too soft to call out as relief. The first sip is more than a sip ever was. A morning begins where a morning began. Outside the small window, the buses go past. A boy with a bag and a worker walk fast. A pigeon descends to the curb and decides. The door of the bakery opens, then hides. The world is awake on the other side now. The world isn't here, but it's keeping its vow. And I in my booth with the cup in my hands am part of a morning I don't have to plan. the day finds its earliest tone, and a small wave of warmth in the cup that I own. She slides it across, and her smile is so brief, a kindness too soft to call out as relief. The first sip is more than the body had guessed. A morning is something the body confessed. The booth and the window and cup all agree. A morning is finally being with me. The cup in my hand has begun to release a slow, careful column, a thin silver lease. The light from the window is catching it now, a ribbon of brightness, a soft turning bow. The steam reads the light like a finger on glass, a small disappearing, the morning will pass. And nothing is happening, only this rise, a breath of the cup made of light and surprise. The window is older than most of the room. The pane has a wave to its glass like a moon. The light through the wave makes a soft ripple here, a soft bend of brightness on linen and ear. The steam from the cup meets the wave on the glass and makes a small drawing, the morning will pass. The cup is a kettle, the kettle is sea. A morning is small, but a small thing to be. Steam reads the light, and the light reads us back. A morning is more than a morning unpacks. Across the long room, she is wiping a tray. The cloth in her hand makes a slow figure eight. The steam from the kettle is joined, what I see, a weather inside of a weather all free. The room is a vessel, the vessel is air. Morning is something we both have to wear. The wood and the porcelain hold the same hum. A morning is what all small mornings become. The light finds its angle, the angle finds her. A small bright geometry, gentle and sure. The cup in my hand is cooled by a degree. The light through the steam has begun to be free. The ribbon as thin to a thread on the air, a small disappearing of soft, careful care. I lift it, I sip it, the warmth meets my tongue. A morning is something, a morning has sung. The window, the wave, and the warmth all agree. A morning is everything cup-shaped can be. Steam reads the light, and the light reads us back. A morning is more than a morning unpacks. Is half empty, the morning half made. The light through the window has shifted its shade. The steam is a memory now on the rim. A morning is everything thin and within. I set the cup down and the table receives a small quiet weight that the morning believes. The window, the wave, and the warmth and the cup. A morning is something we slowly look up. Steam reads the light, and the light reads us back. A morning is has spoken.
She lifts a small saucer and sets it to dry. The clink of the porcelain meets her soft sigh. She lifts up a second, the second one sings a small private chorus of small porcelain things. The cups on the rack make a soft, careful row, a library almost of warm afterglow. She counts them in twos on the tips of her hands. A morning has rhythms she quietly plans, and no one has noticed the music she makes. The kitchen is humming, the shaker awake, the cello of footsteps, the piano of light. A morning is keeping its rhythm just right. She counts and the morning starts learning to dance. A cup and a saucer, a chair and a glance, the cloth and the tray and the tin and the spoon, a small private music, a quiet small tune. And no one is watching, but I am. A morning is built from the small and the calm. She places a row in the warm bottom shelf, the saucers, the small plates, the cups by themselves. Her fingers know each by the weight in her palm. She handles them slowly, she handles them calm. The window behind her is soft and unsharp. The light on her hair is the warm color of harp. She lifts up a cup with a chip on its lip and sets it aside with a small, careful slip. And no one has noticed the music she makes. The kitchen is humming, the shaker awake, the cello of footsteps, the piano of light. A morning is finding its rhythm tonight. She counts and the morning starts learning to dance. A cup and a saucer, a chair and a glance, and no one is watching, but I am. A morning is built from the small and the calm. The shelf is now full, and her hands have grown still. A second of nothing, the world has its will. She wipes off her palms on the front of her dress. A morning has done what a morning suggests. She turns to the window and looks at the light. A morning is finished with making it right. She nods to herself and she lifts up the tray. A morning has counted itself in today. She counts and the morning starts learning to dance. A cup and a saucer, a chair and a glance, the cloth and the tray and the tin and the spoon, A small private music, a quiet small tune, and no one is watching, but I am. A morning is built from the small and the calm. The shelf is a chorus, the rack is a song. A morning is something we slowly belong.
Morning leans across the table, a slow gold finger on the wood. And there it is, the smallest weather, a drift of light I never could have noticed if I had been moving, if I had somewhere I should be. The dust is turning in the window, quiet as a thing set free. Nothing here is asking, and nothing here is owed. The kettle hasn't spoken, the day has not yet showed. Dust on the sill, dust on the sill, a galaxy that no one planned. Dust on the sill, dust on the sill, slow as the back of a hand. Each little speck, a small alive. A morning I can understand. I used to think that I should clean it, wipe the windowsill to bone. But now I let the small motes gather, so the morning's not alone. They lift and fall and lift again, like swimmers in the amber pain. A weather with no rain or thunder, a patience nothing can explain. And nothing here is hurried, and nothing here is loud. The light is doing nothing and doing it out loud. Dust on the sill, dust on the sill, a galaxy that no one planned. Dust on the sill, dust on the sill, slow as the back of a hand. The window holds it like a secret, a small and shining contraband. Somewhere the streets are filling, somewhere a clock is stern, somewhere 100 windows have nothing left to learn. But here the air is golden, and here the specks are kings, and here a quiet kingdom is built of weightless things. Dust on the sill, dust on the sill, a galaxy that no one planned. Dust on the sill, dust on the sill, slow as the back of a hand. Each little speck a small life. A morning I can understand. So let it drift, so let it gather, the brightest dust upon the land. She lifts the small notebook and sets it down flat. The cover is soft from the months it has sat. She turns to the page where she stopped yesterday, a small folded corner that means what it may. She runs her thumb gently along the soft fold, a small careful gesture, a small soft hold. She presses it open, then closes it slow, a small private signal that only she'll know. And the morning is patient, the page is now bare. The pen by the napkin is waiting right there. The booth and the cup and the window agree. The notebook is ready, but she is not yet free. She folds yesterday gently, the way one would close a petal that opened and thought to repose. She turns to the page that the day will become, a small empty country, a small open hum. She holds it a moment, then sets it aside. A morning is something a morning won't hide. The harmonica somewhere is breathing a line, a small careful shape from the hands of the time. The notebook is open, but she lifts her cup. The morning is everything, quiet won't sup. She watches the steam find its way to the air, a small disappearing of careful soft care. The page can wait further, the page knows it can. A morning is built from a slow careful plan. And the morning is patient, the page is now bare. The pen by the napkin is waiting right there. The booth and the cup and the window agree. The notebook is ready, the moment is free. She folds yesterday gently, the way one would close a petal that opened and thought to repose. She turns to the page that the day will become, a small empty country, a small open hum. The pen finds her fingers, the page finds its name. A morning is starting to know what to claim. And somewhere a friend in another small town is folding a sheet, is setting one down. And somewhere a child is closing a book, and somewhere a man takes a long, careful look. The world is full of small folding, small things, the closing of letters, the closing of wings. A morning is something that everyone keeps. A morning is something the universe sleeps. She folds yesterday gently, the way one would close a petal that opened and thought to repose. She turns to the page that the day will become, a small empty country, a small open hum. The pen finds her fingers, the page finds its name. A morning is starting to know what to claim. And nothing is written, but everything starts. A morning is folding itself into hearts.
has a way of remembering me. The cushion has learned the small shape of my knee. The wood of the back has the angle I lean. The arm of the bench has the wear in between. The corner is mine in the way corners are. A small private country, no map and no star. The window beside it has frost in its pane. A small constellation that knows my last name. And no one has named it, but everyone knows. A booth becomes yours by the morning it shows. The waitress walks past it without a small sound. The booth is the booth, and the booth has been found. The grain on the table is dark where I write. The corner is sticky from somebody's night. A ring from a glass that I left months ago. A circle of memory, soft and not slow. The salt is the same and the napkins agree. The small metal holder is patient with me. The light from the window arrives at this place and lights up a strange, almost personal grace. And no one has named it, but everyone feels. A booth becomes yours by the way the booth heals. The cushion, the table, the window, the wood. A booth is the morning. A morning becomes good. The booth is a country. The booth is a song. The booth is the morning where mornings belong. I sit in the wood and the cushion and air become the small architecture of careful, soft care. The booth is a chair, but the booth is much more. The booth is the morning. The morning is for. A storm hit the glass, and once I sat here when a friend had to pass. And once I sat here when I knew nothing yet. And once I sat here when I knew not to fret. The booth has held all of these versions of me. The booth has been kind in a way booths can be. The grain and the cushion and corner and frame. A small private memory wearing my name. The booth is a chair, but the booth is much more. The booth is the morning. The morning is for. The window, the table, the corner, the chair. A booth is the morning that morning will wear.
The window is fogging from inside out, a small careful weather of breath and of doubt. The view of the street has gone soft and unsure, a blurred congregation of figures and lure. The lamppost outside is a small yellow blur, the sign of the bakery white like a slur. The world has gone tender, gone soft, gone unmade. A morning is something, that morning has stayed. And nothing is sharp, and nothing is fixed. A morning is everything, weather has mixed. The window, the steam, and the soft far away. A morning is everything softness can say. A figure walks past as a thought walks past glass, a small careful blurring, a soft careful pass. A child with a balloon or a man with a hat, a shape that is shape, and the shape is just that. The cup in my hands has gone warm with my own, a small private weather, a small quiet zone. The window, the cup, and the steam in between. A morning is everything tender, unseen. And nothing is sharp, and nothing is fixed. A morning is everything, weather has mixed. The window, the steam, and the soft far away. A morning is everything softness can say. A window in the steam, a steam in the day. A morning is everything softness can say. And nothing is wrong and nothing is right. The world is a soft indeterminate light. The bakery sign and the lamppost and tree, a small congregation of soft what might be. The window inside is the window outside, a small careful difference that nothing can hide. The cup is the steam and the steam is the air. A morning is everything tender, aware. A window in the steam, a steam in the day. A morning is everything softness can say. A window inside and a window outside. A morning is everything tender, untied.
She lifts a small spoon and she dips it in twice. A small private ritual, a small careful price. The sugar dissolves in the warmth of the cup. A small disappearing, the morning will sup. She stirs in a circle, 2 careful slow turns. The spoon makes a sound that the morning is earned. She taps it on the rim and she sets it aside. A morning is built from the things that we hide. And nobody knows about sugar twice but her. The morning has rituals nobody has heard. The cup and the spoon and the small careful turn. A morning is built from the things that we earn. Sugar twice like a small private prayer. Sugar twice in the warmth of the air. A small careful ritual that lives in her hands. A morning is built from the small private plans. Nobody is watching and nobody knows. A morning is everything carefulness shows. She lifts up the cup and she takes the first sip. The warmth meets the place where her teeth meet her lip. She closes her eyes for a small breath of time. A small private music, a small careful rhyme. The sugar has done what the sugar will do. A small soft adjustment of taste and of true. She opens her eyes and she sets the cup down. A small private practice, a small careful crown. And nobody knows about sugar twice but her. The morning has rituals nobody has heard. The cup and the spoon and the small careful turn. A morning is built from the things that we earn. Sugar twice like a small private prayer. Sugar twice in the warmth of the air. A small careful ritual that lives in her hands. A morning is built from the small private plans. The spoon and the rim and the small careful sound. The morning is everything quiet has found. And once she did this with her grandmother's hand. And once she did this when she did not understand. And once she did this on a cold morning train. And once she did this when she sat in the rain. The sugar has known her in versions of self. The spoon has been with her through grief and through health. The morning is built from the small private things. The sugar, the spoon, and the small private rings. Sugar twice, like a small private prayer. Sugar twice, in the warmth of the air. A small careful ritual that lives in her hands. A morning is built from the small private plans. Nobody is watching and nobody knows. A morning is everything carefulness shows. The sugar dissolves and the morning agrees. A morning is built from the small, slow degrees. The notebook is open, the pen in her hand. The pages, the country, a country can stand. The morning has waited the length of a song. The booth and the cup and the day get along.
She holds the pen lightly, she hovers above. A a small private weather of meaning and love.
The page is so blank that it almost looks lit.
A small white country with nothing in it. And what does she write in the country of white? A morning, a moment, a small careful light, a worry, a wish, or a thing she once knew. A morning has hands and the hands work it through. You write what you know and you know what you write. A morning, a notebook, a small careful light. The pen and the page are the same gentle hands. A morning is built from the small private plans. You write what you know and the morning takes shape. A small private country, a small careful escape. The first word she writes is the first careful step. A small careful planting in soft careful kept. The ink finds the page and it makes its first home. A small careful country, a small careful poem. The cello somewhere is a slow careful breath. A small breathing instrument under her chest. The strings find a chord and they hold it for her. A morning is everything carefulness were. And what does she write in the country of white? A morning, a moment, a small careful light, a worry, a wish, or a thing she once knew. A morning has hands and the hands work it through. You write what you know and you know what you write. A morning, a notebook, a small careful light. The pen and the page are the same gentle hands. A morning is built from the small private plans. You write what you know and the morning takes shape. A small private country, a small careful escape. And somewhere a writer is writing this same, a small careful word that becomes the first claim. And somewhere a poet is closing her book. And somewhere a child is taking a look. And somewhere a man writes a letter to send. And somewhere a friend writes a note for a friend. The world is a writing of small careful things. A morning is everything writing has brought. You write what you know and you know what you write. A morning, a notebook, a small careful light. The pen and the page are the same gentle hands. A morning is built from the small private plans. You write what you know and the morning takes shape. A small private country, a small careful escape. The notebook is open, the pen finds its place. A morning is everything writing can grace. The page is no longer the country of white. A morning is something a morning will write. Two figures arrive at the door of the place. The bell makes a sound, they take off their grace. They settle a few booths away from her own. The smaller one orders, the taller one's known. She watches them slowly across the warm wood. A small private theater of how morning should. The smaller one laughs and the taller one smiles. A morning is built from the small, careful stiles. Two spoons clinking, a small private song. The smaller one's laughter, the taller one's tongue. A morning has people who fill in the air. A small careful music of careful soft care. She listens, she watches, she sips from her own. A morning is everything quiet has known. The smaller one stirs in a careful slow swirl. The taller one taps on the rim of a girl of porcelain gentle, the rim of a cup. A morning is built from the small careful sup. She watches the steam from their cups rise as one. A small congregation of careful soft fun. She turns to her notebook, she turns to her page. A morning is everything carefulness gauge. Two spoons clinking, a small private song. The smaller one's laughter, the taller one's tongue. A morning has people who fill in the air. A small careful music of careful soft care. The booth and the table and cup and the steam. A morning is built from the small private dream. And somewhere two friends are sitting like these, and somewhere two strangers are sharing the breeze, and somewhere two lovers are folding the day, and somewhere two cousins have something to say. The world is full of two spoons in their cups. A small careful music that everywhere bumps. A morning is everything two people shaped. A morning is everything carefulness straight. A small private song. The smaller one's laughter, the taller one's tongue. A morning has people who fill in the air. A small careful music of careful soft care. She listens, she watches, she sips from her own. Morning is everything quiet has known. The booth and the table and cup and the steam. A morning is built from the small private dream. The morning moved without me noticing. The shadow left the chair. It used to lean against the table. Now it's somewhere over there. The light has crossed the whole room slowly, a tide I never see. It only shows me where it's been, not how it came to be. And the wall is warmer now, and the floor has changed its gold. The cup I left this morning is no longer quite as cold. The light shifts, and the room becomes another room. The light shifts, and it carries off the gloom. Nothing asked me, nothing told me, only softer afternoon. I think the day is turning over, like a sleeper in a bed. The plants have leaned a little further toward the window instead. The same four walls have learned new corners, the same old wood, a newer grain, a house that travels while it's standing, a slow, impatient weather vane. And the wall is amber now, and the dust has changed its stance. The book I left wide open has a different kind of chance. The light shifts, and the room becomes another room. The light shifts, and it carries off the gloom. I didn't move, and yet I traveled on a slow, unspoken loom. Outside the clocks are certain, they cut the hour clean, but here the change is gentle and nothing in between. The light does not announce it, it simply lets it be. A morning turning quietly to early afternoon and me. The light shifts, and the room becomes another room. The light shifts, and it carries off the gloom. Nothing asked me, nothing told me, only softer afternoon. So let it move across the table, let it find me, let it bloom. Outside on the street, the day has begun. The first walk of buses, the slow yellow sun. The bakery sign has been switched on to red. The flower shop man has unfolded his shed.
The world has remembered itself once again. A morning becomes the small business of men.
She watches the window, she watches the street. A morning is everything carefully neat.
And inside, the booth has held quiet so long.
A small private music has carried its song.
The notebook, the cup, and the soft, careful stays.
A morning is everything in inside the days. Outside it's beginning, the day finds its feet.
A morning is everything carefully neat.
The bakery, the bus, and the slow yellow sun.
A morning is everything quietly done.
And inside the booth she has finished her cup. A morning is everything quiet, looks up. She closes the notebook, she folds back the pen.
A small careful gesture,
a small soft amen.
She lifts up the cup and she takes the last sip.
A small private ending,
a small careful trip.
The booth holds the warmth of her small careful stay.
A morning is everything tucked and away.
She nods to the woman behind the long pine. A morning is everything carefully fine.
And the morning is moving, the morning is now.
A small careful starting of small careful how.
The roads and the brushes have started to lean.
A morning is everything carefully seen. Outside it's beginning, the day finds its feet.
A morning is everything carefully neat.
The bakery, the bus, and the slow yellow sun.
A morning is everything quietly done.
She steps from the booth and she puts on her coat. A morning is everything carefully wrote.
She walks through the room
with the cup in her hand.
The waitress, the counter,
the small careful stand.
She passes the door
and the bell makes its note.
A small careful punctuation,
a soft careful cut.
The lock of the door
is now warm with the day.
A morning is everything carefully stay.
She steps to the street and the morning is here. A morning is everything carefully near. Outside it's beginning, the day finds its feet.
A morning is everything carefully neat.
The bakery, the bus, and the slow yellow sun. A morning is everything quietly done. She steps from the booth and she steps from the door. A morning is everything carefully more. The first hour is over, the second now near. A morning is everything carefully.